If you've ever wondered why some companies seem to attract customers effortlessly while others struggle despite spending thousands on ads, you're about to understand why. Seth Godin has been writing about marketing for over 30 years. He's published 18 books, built companies, and his daily blog has millions of readers. And in his book, This is Marketing, he makes a case that most of us think about marketing completely wrong. This book is a masterclass on shifting away from the traditional view of marketing as shouting louder than your competition. Instead, it's about understanding human nature, building trust, and serving the people who actually want what you have to offer. Understanding these key lessons from this book is critical if you want to keep up with how marketing actually works today. Aloha, I'm Brent Shiratori, and this is Idea Marketing. Here's what we're covering today. I'm going to walk you through the 5 most important principles from This is Marketing. For each one, I'll explain the concept, show how it connects to your marketing strategy, and give you a practical example of how companies are applying it right now. First, we'll cover why creating something of value has to come before any marketing. Second, why focusing on your smallest viable market beats trying to reach everyone. Third, how to match your story to your audience's worldview. Fourth, how to create that tension that actually moves people to buy. And fifth, how to capitalize on word of mouth to grow your initial audience. By the end of this video, you'll have a framework for thinking about marketing that will help you stop wasting resources on tactics that don't work and start building something that actually connects with people you're trying to serve. All right, let's get into it. The first principle is deceptively simple. To be an effective marketer, you must first create something of value. Now, I know this might sound obvious, but when you think about it, as marketers, how often do we ask ourselves if the products we sell genuinely make our customers' lives better? We often think it's the products team's responsibility to create a product worth buying, and we're just here to figure out how to sell it. But the most successful businesses do the opposite. They identify a group of people with a problem, and then they provide a solution to that problem. Seth Godin argues that people's needs are often rooted in unmet emotional desires. People don't buy a product for the product's sake. They buy it for the feeling it gives them. Think about it. No one actually needs a luxury watch. What they want is the feeling of success, status, or craftsmanship that the watch represents. No one needs a specific brand of running shoes. What they want is to feel like an athlete or to show to others that they take fitness seriously. He suggests that most people, regardless of background, are driven by the same basic human desires: safety, security, belonging, respect, adventure, confidence. These are universal, but they look different depending on who you're talking to. For one person, security means a high-quality life insurance policy. For another, it's an in-home security system. For a third, it's a paid-off mortgage. Same underlying desire, completely different products. So what does this mean for your marketing strategy? Before you write a single ad or post a single piece of content, you need to identify the emotional desire you're fulfilling. What problem are you solving? What feeling are you creating? Let me give you a practical example. Peloton doesn't sell exercise bikes. They sell the feeling of being part of an elite fitness community from the comfort of your home. The bike is just a delivery mechanism. The real product is belonging, motivation, and the identity of being someone who takes their health seriously. When they market their product, they don't lead with horsepower specs or screen resolution. They lead with stories of transformation, community, and becoming the person you want to be. So here's the takeaway. Before you think about tactics, ask yourself what emotional need your product or service fulfills. Then build your marketing with that. Now let's talk about the second principle. Effective marketing is based on a simple fact. You can't please everyone. Different people want different things, and trying to appeal to everyone usually means you end up appealing to no one. Seth Godin introduces this concept called your smallest viable market. It's the smallest group of people who share a common need or desire can sustain your business or project. Here's why this matters. By focusing on a specific niche, you develop a deeper understanding of your consumers' needs. You can create products and services that perfectly address those needs, and you stand out in a crowded marketplace instead of getting lost in the noise. Your core audience should be defined by a shared value system, not just demographic traits. It's not about targeting 35 to 40-year-old women who live in the suburbs. It's about targeting people who believe in a certain worldview, care about certain things, who see themselves in a certain way. He often uses the phrase, "People like us do things like this." That's what you're looking for. A group of people who identify with each other and share a common way of seeing the world. Let me give you an example that he uses in the book. The Grateful Dead grossed millions in revenue over their career, but they only ever had one top 40 Billboard hit. How did they do? They relied on fans to spread the word, and they staked out one corner of the map, live concerts with long jams for dedicated fans rather than polished radio hits. They gave their fans plenty to talk about. They created a family of insiders, and those insiders became their best marketers. Another example, when Slack first launched, they didn't try to become the communication tool for every business on earth. They focused specifically on teams who needed more efficient internal communication. That narrow focus let them build something those teams loved, and then those teams told other teams, and those teams told other teams. Before you know it, "I'll Slack you" has become a part of our business vernacular. For your own marketing, here's how to apply this. Ask yourself, what's the minimum number of people I need to influence to make this worth the effort? Then get specific about who those people are, not demographics. Focus on their values and beliefs, the stories they tell themselves about who they are. All right, so you've identified the emotional need you're fulfilling and you've defined your smallest viable market. Now comes a third principle, matching your story to your audience's point of view. People's purchasing decisions are motivated by deep-seated needs and desires, but there's something else driving those decisions: personal values, the things people care about when pursuing what they want. Seth Godin talks about how people think in terms of, I'm the kind of person who, I'm the kind of person who shops at the local co-op, or I'm the kind of person who uses coupons, or I'm the kind of person who wears a luxury watch. Your marketing story needs to connect with that identity statement. Now here's where positioning comes in. If you want to play it safe, you can stake out the middle ground or go after one of the popular extremes like affordability. Those are places where most customers can be found, but they're also where most companies are fighting for attention. The more effective approach is to move out to the extremes that haven't been overcrowded yet. Even better, stake out a unique combination of extremes. You can even link opposite extremes together. Godin gives us some tools for matching your story to your audience. Let me walk you through 3 of them. The first is frames. Framing involves providing a specific context to shape how your audience perceives information. If you tell someone the glass is half full, they'll view it more favorably than if you say it's half empty. Same reality, but a different perception. Second, euphemisms. A euphemism is a different name for the same idea. You can steer attention away from negative associations. A marketer might call something economical rather than cheap. Same product, but a different feeling. Third, oxymorons. In marketing, oxymorons let you present 2 seemingly contradictory ideas together. Like non-alcoholic beer appeals to someone who doesn't drink but still wants to participate in drinking culture. Luxury budget travel, fast healthy food, these combinations let you reach people with worldviews that might otherwise be at odds. A successful story makes a promise in the language that the audience understands. It says, if you buy this product, use this service, or visit this store, you'll receive fulfillment of one of your desires in a way that you value. And price is a part of that story too. A high price signals that a product is exclusive and high quality. A low price signals accessibility. Price doesn't just affect your margins, it shapes what people believe about what you're offering. Let me give you a practical example. Jones Road Beauty, founded by Bobby Brown, positions itself around natural beauty and authenticity. They're not trying to reach everyone who wears makeup. They're specifically speaking to people who value a more natural look and want to feel part of a community that shares those values. Their marketing isn't about dramatic transformations or covering up flaws. It's about enhancing what's already there. That story matches the worldview of their specific audience. And as your audience grows, your story will need to evolve too. Your initial fans, the trendsetters, will appreciate your unique approach. But as you expand to a broader audience, you'll be reaching people who follow the crowd rather than lead it. So you need to adjust your story to communicate how what you offer provides familiarity and fits into their existing routine. Now let's talk about the fourth principle, actually persuading people to buy. The key to doing this is to create and relieve tension, a sense of uncomfortable pressure which your product can uniquely offer specific relief for. One way to create tension is to challenge people's status, their relationship to a group, and their position within its hierarchy. The easiest way to challenge status and create tension is to raise the prospect of separation. Most people want to keep up with their tribe. They don't want to be left behind when the group moves forward or changes direction. When people in their community adopt your product, the internal culture is evolving. In the statement, "People like us do things like this," your product is becoming one of those variables. Your job as a marketer becomes broadcasting that message. Now, Seth Godin explains that people tend to seek either affiliation or dominance, and you create tension differently depending on which one. People who seek affiliation want kinship with other members of the group. They want reassurance about where they belong in the hierarchy. To create tension with these people, you send signals of popularity, and that might mean busy trade show booths, celebrities attending your product launch, or renowned authors writing blurbs for your book. These signals tell people that the tribe is embracing what you offer. People who seek dominance want to climb the ranks, see their group outrank others, or both. To create tension here, you send signals of, dominance. Uber did this in their early years by boldly taking on conflicts with local governments and competitors. That sent a message to dominance-oriented investors, customers, and employees. We're here to win, and nothing's going to stop us. Seth Godin uses a concept called the story of self, the story of us, and the story of now. The story of self gives you a platform to speak. It shows you're one of them, someone who does things like they do. The story of us creates the kernel of a tribe. It answers why we're alike and why we should care. The story of now creates urgency. Together, we can make something better, but we need to act now without hesitation. That combination creates tension and provides the relief, joining you in what you're building. Let's look at how Apple launched the original iPhone. Unlike all other smartphone introductions at the time, Steve Jobs didn't focus on features. He created tension around being stuck with a phone that wasn't designed for the internet. He positioned the audience as people who are ready to leave that old world behind and join the future. Tension was, do you want to be left behind or do you want to be a part of what's next? The fifth and final principle is about growth. How do you move beyond your smallest viable market to something bigger? Seth Godin points to something called the network effect. It happens when a product or service becomes more valuable as more people use it. This creates a positive feedback loop. More users make it more useful, which attracts more users, which makes it more useful. Think about social networks, messaging apps, or a collaboration tool. They're more valuable when your friends and colleagues are already there. But even if your product doesn't have a built-in network effect, you need to create something people want to talk about. The products and services people will talk about are the ones that become more valuable the more people know about them. Your initial fans, the trendsetters, may appreciate your unique approach, but to make the jump to a broader audience, you need your customers to become your marketers. Ideas travel horizontally now, person to person, not organization to customer. You begin with the smallest possible core and give them something to talk about and a reason to do so. However, you have to consistently fulfill the promises you made. You have to provide effective solutions to the problems you claim to solve. By delivering on your brand promise, you build trust. That trust leads to repeat business and, more importantly, to referrals. Here's how to think about this for your own business. Ask yourself, does my product get better when more people know about it? If not directly, can I create reasons for my customers to share it? What makes my offering remarkable enough that people will talk about it without being asked? Then once people are talking, make sure you're delivering on what you promised. Nothing kills word of mouth faster than disappointing the people your customers refer to you. Seth Godin's This is Marketing gives us a framework for thinking about marketing that goes beyond tactics and gets to the fundamentals of human behavior. First, create something of value by identifying the emotional need you're fulfilling. Second, focus on your smallest viable market. the smallest group that shares a common need and can sustain your business. Third, match your story to your audience's worldview. Speak their language and connect with their identity. Fourth, create and relieve tension to move people from consideration to action. Fifth, capitalize on word of mouth by delivering on your promises and giving people reasons to talk. Here's what I want you to do after this video. First, write down the emotional need your product or service fulfills, not the features, the feeling. Second, define your smallest viable market using this template from the book. My product is for people who believe blank. I will focus on people who want blank. Third, look at your current marketing and ask, does this story match the worldview of the people I'm trying to reach? If not, start rewriting it. If this breakdown helped you think differently about your marketing, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 5 principles you're going to focus on first. Now go apply those principles to your own marketing. Remember, you don't need to buy more ads when you have better ideas.